Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. But here's what separates survivors with minimal damage from those facing lifelong disability. They recognized the warning, and they acted within hours. What most people don't realize is this: a stroke almost never arrives without warning. The brain sends signals hours before, sometimes a day before, a flicker of vision loss, a moment of numbness, a word that won't come. And most people dismiss these moments as stress, fatigue, or aging. My name is Dr. William Parker. I've spent 19 years in stroke prevention and neurology, and what I want to share today could save your life or someone you love, because it's about the 24-hour window before a major stroke, a window almost no one talks about. The research is clear. People who recognize these signs and go to the emergency room within hours have an 80% reduction in stroke risk compared to those who wait. If you've ever experienced something neurological that resolved, vision change, numbness, speech difficulty, this was made for you. Stay with me through all 5 warning signs. The 5th one connects everything. Before the warning signs, you need to understand the 24-hour threshold. Most people think strokes are random. They're not. A stroke has been building for years: high blood pressure damaging artery walls, plaque accumulating, clots forming. You feel nothing, until suddenly you do. Here's what's critical. Brain cells begin dying within 4 to 6 minutes of losing oxygen. Every minute a major stroke goes untreated, approximately 1.9 million neurons are lost. But here's the game changer: a transient ischemic attack, TIA. A brief neurological symptom that resolves is not a near miss. It's the brain's clearest warning that a major stroke may be imminent. Research found that 10 to 15% of people who have a TIA will have a full stroke within 3 months, and nearly half occur within the first 48 hours. A small clot temporarily blocks blood. Symptoms appear, then the clot dissolves. You feel fine, so you wait. But the underlying cause, the clot, the plaque, the rhythm problem, hasn't resolved. The signal and the major event are separated by time. That time is measured in hours. A study in The Lancet proved it. Urgent evaluation within 24 hours of a TIA reduced 90-day stroke risk by 80%. Warning: sign 1, temporary vision loss in one eye. Marcus was 64 when his left eye went dark. Not blurry, just dark. For about 75 seconds, then it came back. He told himself it was probably nothing, maybe eye strain. 23 hours later, Marcus had a major stroke. His left side has permanent weakness. What actually happened? A temporary blockage in the ophthalmic artery, the vessel supplying blood to the eye. That artery branches directly from the carotid artery in your neck, which is also a primary blood supply to the brain. That clot fragment traveling through your eye is traveling through the same system supplying your neurons. It's not an eye problem. It's a vascular alarm. Practical guidance: if you experience brief, painless vision loss in one eye, go to the emergency room the same day. Not tomorrow, not after an eye doctor appointment. Same day. Warning sign 2, sudden, one-sided numbness or tingling. Jennifer woke up one morning with her entire right arm feeling asleep, pins and needles from shoulder to fingertips. After 4 minutes, it was resolved. She assumed she'd slept on it. 2 days later, Jennifer had a major stroke affecting her speech. What happened? The sensory cortex in the brain, the region processing touch on one side, was temporarily deprived of blood flow. When blood flow resumed, sensation returned completely. But what didn't return was the underlying cause: the clot, the plaque, the narrowed vessel. Practical guidance: sudden, unprovoked numbness or tingling on one side of your body warrants same-day emergency evaluation, particularly if it involves your face alongside your arm or leg. Warning sign 3, sudden dizziness with loss of balance. David felt a sudden wave of dizziness, not the room spinning, but a sudden sense of being unsteady. It lasted 90 seconds, then passed. He thought his blood pressure dipped and continued his day. 48 hours later, David had a major stroke in his cerebellum. He now walks with a cane. What happened? The cerebellum, the brain's balance center, was briefly deprived of blood. When flow returned, the symptom resolved, but the underlying vascular problem remained. Distinguishing features that make it vascular: sudden onset, not gradual, no positional trigger accompanied by unsteadiness or difficulty walking, combined with other neurological symptoms. Practical guidance: sudden dizziness accompanied by difficulty walking or loss of coordination requires emergency evaluation. If dizziness is isolated and resolves quickly, call your doctor the same day. Warning sign 4, sudden speech difficulty. Lisa was having dinner when mid-sentence she stopped. She knew what she wanted to say. She understood her husband's voice, but the words simply wouldn't come. For 45 seconds, nothing. Then the words returned. She laughed it off. 2 days later, Lisa had a major stroke affecting her language centers. Speech recovery was partial. What happened? Temporary disruption in Broca's area, the brain's speech production center. Blood flow was interrupted briefly, then resumed. Symptoms resolved. The underlying vascular problem remained. This type of speech warning is often subtle, a word that won't come. Halting speech, garbled words, not the dramatic slurring people expect. Critical fact, patients with transient speech symptoms waited an average of 12+ hours before seeking care. Why? Embarrassment. The symptom had resolved. That delay increases stroke risk significantly. Practical guidance. Any sudden speech difficulty, even if it resolves completely, requires same-day emergency evaluation. Tell the triage team specifically, I experienced sudden speech difficulty. It resolved, but I want neurological evaluation. Warning sign 5. Sudden severe headache plus vascular risk. Robert was 71 with high blood pressure and elevated blood sugar. One afternoon he felt a sudden intense headache, different from his usual tension headaches. It arrived at full intensity in seconds. It lasted 2 minutes, then faded. He took ibuprofen and continued working. 12 hours later, Robert had a massive hemorrhagic stroke. He died 6 days later. Critical distinction. Headaches are common. Most aren't stroke warnings, but a sudden headache arriving at maximum intensity within seconds, particularly in someone with vascular risk factors, is different. Here's what most people never discuss: the hidden pattern beneath stroke risk. The most dangerous strokes happen to people who don't know they're at significant risk. High blood pressure. The CDC reports 47% of American adults have hypertension. 1 in 5 don't even know it. Blood pressure that runs chronically elevated produces no symptoms, but it's systematically damaging your brain's blood vessels, silently, for years. Elevated blood sugar. Even pre-diabetic levels damage artery linings, creating sticky surfaces where plaque accumulates and clots form. The Framingham Heart Study showed elevated HbA1c carries significantly elevated stroke risk independent of other factors. Atrial fibrillation, AFib, an irregular heart rhythm affecting 2.7 million Americans. Blood pools and clots in the heart chambers. Those clots travel to the brain. AFib-related strokes tend to be larger and more severe. Smoking history. Smoking damages endothelial function and increases clotting risk. The damage persists even after quitting. Critical point, an unusual headache in someone with high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, AFib, or smoking history is not the same as a headache in a healthy 35-year-old. Context changes urgency. The prodromal phase, 24 hours before. Research indicates that multiple minor neurological symptoms within a 24-hour window, each resolving individually, carry particularly high predictive value for imminent major stroke. It's the pattern that matters. 3 medical tests to discuss. Test 1. Carotid artery ultrasound. Non-invasive imaging of your neck arteries for plaque buildup. Takes 15 minutes. Test 2. HbA1c blood test. 3-month picture of average blood sugar reveals hidden diabetes risk. Test 3. Holter ECG monitor 24 to 48-hour heart rhythm monitoring. Detects intermittent AFib that standard ECGs miss. The stroke risk clarity protocol. Before your next doctor's appointment, bring these 5 questions. Based on my blood pressure, blood sugar, and heart rhythm, what's my estimated stroke risk? Have I had any brief vision changes, numbness, dizziness, or speech difficulty I dismissed? Would a carotid artery ultrasound be appropriate for me? Is my heart rhythm adequately monitored? Would a Holter ECG help? If I experience the 5 warning signs I learned about and they resolve, should I go straight to the emergency room? 30-day action plan this week. Write your risk factors, 1 page. High blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, smoking history, AFib, family history. Keep it accessible. Write the 5 warning signs: temporary vision loss, 1 eye, sudden one-sided numbness/tingling, sudden loss of balance/coordination, sudden speech difficulty, sudden severe headache with vascular risk. Post on your refrigerator. Share with family members who should recognize these signs. Schedule your doctor appointment within 30 days. Bring both lists and the protocol questions. You don't need to live in fear of these symptoms. You need to recognize them. That's a very different thing. The difference between stroke survivors with minimal damage and those facing lifelong disability is recognition and action. That's it. In 19 years, the cases that stay with me aren't where everything went wrong. They're where someone knew enough to act in time. Marcus could have prevented his stroke. Jennifer could have. Lisa could have. Robert could have. Yours doesn't have to follow their path. You are not helpless in front of your vascular health. You have risk factors that can be measured and addressed. You have warning signs that, if recognized, give you a window to act. You now have the 5 questions to bring to your physician. The window is measured in hours, not weeks. What you do inside that window is what determines the story that comes after. If this gave you something real today, subscribe. This channel is built for calm, clear, science-based guidance for adults who want to understand what their body is telling them before crisis forces the conversation. I'll see you in the next one.